Hershey Park, Dorney Park, and Six Flags Great Adventure all reopened at the beginning of July 2020. Their park opening dates were delayed due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic that has been responsible for the death of over 3 million Americans. The virus has caused many businesses to take major sanitization and cleanliness efforts to prevent the spread of the virus. Once the curve had flattened, Governors Murphy and Wolf of New Jersey and Pennsylvania allowed amusement parks to reopen as long as they followed very strict safety guidelines. We've gotten to visit 3 of these parks, and they definitely do some things different and many things the same. Let's take a look at which park you're safest visiting: Dorney Park, Hershey Park, or Six Flags Great Adventure. Starting with Dorney Park, we visited here on Friday, July 17th. The park was scheduled to open at 11 o'clock, and they let us in for parking at around 10:45. At the tolls, they asked if we all had reservations and masks after scanning our pass. Then they let us in. For security, we passed through a tent where they then split everyone into 2 sides that took your temperature. Then, you pass through the metal detectors and you're on into the park. Inside the park, there are social distancing markers everywhere, and there are staggering rows on their coasters. Thunderhawk loads 1 row per car, just like Steel Force. Hydra loads every other row, and I'd assume that Talon will do the same. All guests were wearing their masks correctly, and not many people were misbehaving. If an employee saw a guest with their mask on wrong, they would tell them to fix it. Sanitizer was everywhere, but not all of it was great sanitizer. Overall, I felt very, very safe at Dorney Park and felt that the capacity limits were perfect. Now on to Hershey Park. Entering Hershey Park is basically just like it usually would be. Scan your ticket/pass at the tolls and drive in. After parking, an employee would stop your group and take your temperature. Very different from Dorney Park's quick-moving setup, but it worked. You then go through metal detectors and turnstiles, and you're in. I did notice that the social distancing was just a bit more lax here than the other parks. There were markers, but guests seemed to be a little close for comfort. However, this was not very frequent. They had every row open on coasters like Skyrush, Great Bear, Candymonium, Fahrenheit, and from the looks of it, Sidewinder. Every other row was open on Wildcat, Lightning Racer, Comet, and Trailblazer. The coasters that I didn't mention were either closed or are small. The sanitizer at this park was great. It was all Purell and no touch, which was a big improvement over the other parks. The park itself did not feel crowded at all, so the capacity limits were again perfect. All guests were wearing masks correctly until later in the day, where some groups were not listening. However, this was few and far between and usually addressed by employees. Overall, Hershey made me feel extremely safe. Finally, we have Great Adventure. Now, I went to Great Adventure once on opening day and again on July 15th, so the operations differed heavily. I'm going to focus on my most recent visit, since this is how it will likely be for anyone who goes to visit now. Entering the park is perhaps the best of any of the other parks. Getting through the tolls are a little iffy because some people decide it's a good idea to buy parking at the park instead of online, which it is not a good idea. But once you get through, it's very smooth sailing. When you first walk up to the entrance, you're directed through a set of switchbacks which are socially distanced, then led through the temperature check tent, which you simply walk right through. Then you will walk through metal detectors and walk right through the turnstiles. This setup never stops moving, and the setup is pretty much done perfectly. Social distancing is different depending on the crowd. The park does everything they can do, but there's a lot of people who just don't listen. Markers are well spaced out, however. The sanitizer here is really bad, as almost all the sanitizer spots don't use actual sanitizer, but use some sort of strange liquid that smells like tequila. As for the rides, on Nitro, Bizarro, Batman, El Toro, Skull Mountain, and Green Lantern, every other row is open. I'm pretty sure that Superman is spaced out by every row, but I haven't ridden it, so I'm not 100% sure. I am also unsure as to how it handled on Joker. On King Ka, it's pretty confusing the way it's set up. It's supposed to be every other row, but if you're in a group of people, you can all ride in the same car. This may change, as the day I was there was one of the first days King Ka was open for the season. As for mask wearing, it has gotten a lot better since opening day, but it's still not amazing. There are lots of guests who are not listening, and the employees who tell them to fix their masks are the supervisors, not regular employees usually. However, this isn't that bad considering the park you're at. All in all, Great Adventure has its issues, but they aren't the park's fault. They do a great job at setting guidelines, but like I said, the guests don't always listen. I felt somewhat safe here. Now for the final verdict. Personally, I felt the safest at Dorney Park, followed closely by Hershey Park. This isn't to say that Six Flags Great Adventure isn't safe, it's just that I felt safer at the other parks. All parks do a great job with sanitization of their rides and social distancing guidelines. I would definitely recommend going to these parks if you feel comfortable. Remember to reserve your day on the park's websites, linked below, and to purchase parking before your visit. Of course, don't forget your mask. Before I end this video, I do want to mention our Discord server. In the server, we have tons of different chat rooms and channels that are always very active and lively. You could talk about roller coasters, games, and more. Don't be shy to come on voice and get to know everyone. Myself, along with people like Braden, Matt, Sammy, Nick, Evan, Sean, and more are usually on call and eager to chat. So don't be shy. Join the Discord server by using the code B9 SJBA E. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video with your friends and families, and I'll see you all next time.